started using the notes, the clip notes that I put in the link? No? It's really cool because it transcribes every word from the video and then gives a summary at the end of the high points.
Oh, the whole thing.
Of the whole thing. It's pretty.
Are you doing Gemini to do that?
It automatically does it through the meeting. Well, anyway, thank you guys for joining us on the line. Appreciate you guys. You're missing Chick-fil-A that Josh brought. And speaking of Josh, we'll go ahead and what did I just say? Okay, not that one. I have to be on this screen. So this is Josh Waggoner. He's with DR Horton. And are you still at Sunny Creek?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Josh, the floor is yours. So let me stop presenting and let you present from your side.
Okay.
We get video and stop presenting, and you can take over. All right, you're ready to go.
Present now. Hello. Am I in?
You're in.
Awesome. I feel like Alias. That was dating me. How's everyone doing this morning? You'll respond with enthusiasm. That's great. And it's not even, it's barely 10 o'clock. I'm Josh Waggoner, and I'm excited to be here. This is my second visit. I decided to wear cowboy boots in honor of the cowboy hat. I don't own one anymore. Fun fact, the only cowboy hat I've ever owned was for a wedding that I was in, and I don't know where it went. I only used it once. It's fine.
Sounds like a good wedding.
But it was a good wedding. It was a good wedding.
You got boots.
I got the boots. And that was actually for a Horton thing, because we started in Fort Worth, and I'm in the Fort Worth division, and we're now the largest builder in America. So anytime the Fort Worth division celebrates, they got to do it Western style, of course. And I didn't want to not look the part. I literally have nothing. I was like, maybe I could just take a tablecloth and make a shirt out of it, but that didn't work. So I didn't buy some. Anyways, that's where the boots came from some like Christmas party 3 years ago. It's fine. It's fine. So Horton, like I mentioned, we're the largest builder in America. Has anyone ever sold with Horton? Yes. I mean, we already kind of tried out.
We tried, yeah. Well, that's a whole other thing.
It's a valiant effort. It's all good. It's all good. I've been in new home sales for 9-10 years. I don't remember. I think it was 2017 officially when I started new home sales actually. But before that, I was flipping homes. That took 3 years to do 2 of them. I lived in them, had babies, and all the things kept growing. But real estate's been a huge passion of mine, and I find that I've tried other things. I've tried to sell insurance. I've tried to sell securities, stocks. I've tried lots of different. I worked in restaurants. I did well there, but I didn't find a net worth increase nearly like what real estate has provided me and my family. And so I feel like I'm selling legacy more and financial freedom more than I'm selling a physical product. And that's where my conviction comes from, and that's where my tenacity comes from. And if you're not convicted, then you're not going to be closing. And so today we're going to be talking about how to close. And I do think that in order to get, how long have y'all been licensed as an agent with us? Many years?
No, a couple more.
Fresh. New. Perfect.
About 5.
5.
I don't know.
You're the marketing guy, right? So you have a license?
Yeah, in like 9 or 10 years.
Perfect.
Just 5 years.
Yes, I love that. Love it.
20.
Perfect. Okay. In all of y'all's classes for CE training and the initial classes to get registered and licensed, did they teach you how to sell a home or how to just not
Get sued.
I mean, I haven't done it. I'm not licensed.
No,
I don't know, but I'm
teach you
seeing
how to
the
sell a home.
results of everybody fresh and not, and I'm like, they're not trained on this in that class. So I was like, okay, I have my own brand, RE3, Real Estate in 3 minutes. The goal of the brand is to help agents grow their legacy using real estate. That is the 100% focus of the mission. I only sell homes for DR Horton. DR Horton knows I have a website and they know I have a brand because they told me to brand myself online. We're publicly traded, and if I tag them the wrong way or talk about an interest rate, I'm not the lender. I don't work for the lender. That's another company. So now I could get like, no. So I have my own brand, so I can just talk about new homes, and I'm the new home guy. But all my agents know me as Horton. RA3 is me online. Track it so far. So my website, I've hidden behind a beautiful little site membership, only requestable if you know me, apps that help you grow your legacy using real estate. And one of the apps is agent training. So I created a class that we're going to go over today called Closed, and it's an acronym, and this is how I close homes. This is how I sell them. This is what you're going to hear. She'll be able to attest because we had a bit of an appointment. And I don't know, 2 months ago in DeSoto. But I just think that it's valuable data, and you as well, just starting, you've already been, we know how to connect with people because we wouldn't be in this business. So that's a huge factor in sales. But closing it down is a whole lot simpler than maybe we do, because we're not following a quick little step. So that's what this is. I'm not trying to overeducate people or insult anybody on their abilities. It's just a guideline that I personally use to sell homes. And last year I had 98 contracts and 77 closings.
Okay.
So the proof is in the pudding. I do it, I live it, and it's working well. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to zoom this in so everyone can see it. Have you helped, and this is kind of rhetorical, but if I look and point, I do want an answer just for those present. Have you ever helped a buyer that never made a decision?
Sure.
Yes, it's frustrating. Have you ever said or done something that derailed the sale?
Sure.
Totally put my foot in my mouth. As a professional, obviously, we should be helping move the sale forward, but there are 5 things. Closed has 6 letters. There are 5 things that we need to cover before we earn the right for the 6th one, which is to ask for the sale. Before we go do that, what does it mean to close a buyer? So obviously it comes down to your buyer making a decision. This is the basic of basic of basic. If they aren't decided, you're not going to close them, period. Decided is when a buyer selects what they want, keywords, above all options, above all other options. I think I have it. So this also means that when a buyer says yes to what they want, they're actually saying no to everything else. And I think that's where their fear comes in, because they know that. They're not going to be able to say it that way, but they're like, I want to say yes, but what if we haven't seen the thing that I haven't seen yet that might be better than this thing I'm seeing, right? So there's a lot of fear in that. And that's why I say this is key, because if we know the psychology behind their fears and their anxieties and all that, we're going to help overcome that with our words, with our body language, and our timing and what we say when we say it. Okay. Once a buyer has decided, then they're ready to be closed. But just because they've decided doesn't mean they're closed yet. They can be decided and you don't ask, and then they move on and they find another agent to close them down. I know that's happened too, right? With me. Closed when a buyer has agreed to purchase. So they have to decide first, and then to say that they're closed, they have to agree to purchase. Those are the separate distinctions. Okay. So how does a pro get a buyer to decide on what they want so the pro can ask them to agree to purchase it? That's what we're doing today. So we're going to go through the first step, current situation. I haven't met a single agent, and I've met thousands probably, that's bad at this. Every single agent that I've talked with knows their clients. Now, some of them are like, but they'll admit, I just started. Okay, that's fine. But you just told me you just started, which means you tried to get to know them, but they didn't let you yet or whatever, just the time. That tells me that you knew that you needed to. So every agent is great at this. A pro knows where their buyer is now. And it's not just their physical location. It's just their whole ambiance. Is the wife pregnant? Are they having their 5th kid and they're about to kill everyone in this 3-bedroom house? Like, what's going on right now? Things like, where do you live now? Sorry, my voice is cracking. I think I have acid reflux. And it's just like, I'm so annoying because I sing and then it goes away. Side note. Okay. Where do you live now? How long have you been there? How many are moving with you? These are great questions. I know y'all are already asking them because how are you going to make sales otherwise, right? Pros dig deep with the questions. No offense to any gentlemen in here, but I think women are more disarming with questions than men are. Men sound a little bit more interrogatory. That's a word, interrogatory. Women are just, we're always used to being asked questions by women. I don't know why. And so that's a female and a male. We're always being asked by women, right? And so that's just a thing. But as men, we can overcome that in how quickly we ask them, how short we keep them, and right at the right time. And it's. I find that I'm getting a little too gender nice, but men and women paper houses, but women buy them more times than not. I'm not gonna say that officially, but I think that if there's a couple and that's the dynamic, then that tends to be it. But I try to do everything I can to connect with both parties equally. Now, one of them is going to connect with me better, and that's just naturally I'm going to give more energy to that person. Normally, it is the female. But y'all already kind of know that. So the first step is their current situation. We've got to figure out what's going on in life now. The second thing, which is, so basically it says the most impactful thing to uncover in the C step is to learn what they're moving from. You got to know now.
That's a good poignant way to put that.
What they're moving from. Because they're moving. Their happy little bottom is trying to move somewhere else. Why? That's another question, but you got to know what that is now so you can jump in their life for it and be like, oh, that would drive me nuts too. If my tree was hanging over and was breaking into the window all the time because of the storms, or every time I go down this long driveway, I have to get out of my car and pick up the debris because we had another storm. Like, that would drive me nuts too if I didn't just love the trees more than I hated that pain. So getting into that is really helpful. And the minute you say, well, tell me about your current situation. And normally the first things that come out are the most important things that you need to remember so that you can then digest and kind of decipher the solution. We're just here to find solutions, but we've got to know what the problem is first. Okay, so second thing is location. So I've done a C, current situation. The L enclosed is location. This is physically where they want to move. Like, that's a, like, what zip code, what neighborhood, what school district, like what is important to you on the location. Some people are like, I work remote. Do you have an island? I don't care. Okay, cool. Well, we established that you don't care about location. At least we talked about it. So it's a geographical question, but it can easily be rooted in why they're moving in the first place. Notice how every time you say, well, tell me about your current situation, or every one of these steps, you're really probably going to hear their why they're moving also, which is another step. But more times than not, they're moving because they're in pain for something. And that's cool. We're either running from pain or we're running towards pleasure. Those are the only two motivators for action, period. This is all the psychology of it. So this is a geographic question. So things like, does this area work for you? How the zip code? Do you like the blah, blah, blah area? What are you needing to be near? These are just you know how to figure out their location questions, but that's what the L is enclosed. Okay, the most impactful thing to uncover in the L step is to learn where they want to move. So we figured out what they want to move from in their current situation, and then, or, yeah, exactly. And then L is where they're wanting to physically move to. So that's the L. Now the O, objective for moving. This is the why. You may have already uncovered it just by saying what's going on. And then they tell you, and you heard the why, but make sure you identify it out loud. Because otherwise they're like, no, that's not it. And then now they can explain further, right? A pro needs to know what the purpose their buyer has for moving. Every agent I talk to knows this. I haven't, not even a single one. They all, oh, well, they're moving because they're having a third kid. Oh, they're moving because they need to get closer to college. Oh, they're moving because they're trying to downsize. They're tired of paying for the second floor that they don't need. They always figure out why. But we've got to know all the things too, right? So why are you moving? What are you needing the new home to have? What's your goal by moving? The most impactful thing to uncover in the O step is to learn why they want to move. So we've done the C for current situation. What's the L? Location. Yes, I'm so proud. What's the O? Objective. I said the same thing. I literally had to redo my PDFs here because I said objection for moving. I'm like,
Oh yeah, that's not it.
that's not it. So I think it took me 7 weeks with ChatGPT to get an acronym, but I finally figured it out. Objective for moving. This is the most impactful step. I cannot explain it enough. Tell me you heard me. This is the most impactful step. The sum of the monthly 99% of agents that bring me a buyer with a pre-approval letter. Neither the agent nor the buyer knows what that approval amount is monthly. 99%. And it's consistent.
Scary.
Before,
Scary.
it is before we had BFCs where we were buying interest rates, and interest rates are now a discussion, and monthly payments made more sense to talk about. And it's absolutely still while we're doing that. And I'm like, I don't understand. So wait, am I really expecting you to talk numbers with your buyer? 100% I am. And I give you tools to do it really well like a pro. Unless your buyer is paying cash or money is not an object, and I don't care who you are, it's always an object because even Jeff Bezos can't buy everything. A pro always talks in monthly payments. Why? 2 reasons. 1, it is how everyone pays their bills and therefore thinks. 2, it is literally how their lender reaches their approval amount. Most people don't know that. Even lenders don't talk like that. But a lender will look at their average last 2 years of income. They'll divide that into a 1-year average. and they'll divide that into a monthly, and then they'll divide that to about 2, and then that minus all their debt that pull up on their credit can go towards new debts. Great. That's a monthly payment. And that is how they then say, oh, well, based on my company that I work for in this market rate, you're now approved for $425,000. But I need to know what the actual payment is for me to then tell them that they're actually approved for $520,000 with your Horton's lender. But then I have to do my own but if they don't even know that 425 is, I don't know, $3,900 a month, then why are we showing $425,000 homes when they want to be at $2,800 a month? So now we just wasted a lot of everybody's time if we don't talk about this first before we go out and look. Okay, it's a vital step to uncover your buyer's preferred monthly payment before showing homes. I was just blessed to connect with one of Patty Smith's clients in Reddit Estates in Mansfield. And I was like, hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Great, where do you want your payments to be monthly? And it sounds super salesy, I'm sure. But once they see that I pull out my calculator and I go through what their approval is, and I'm like, here's your buying power with us. Let me show you how that works. We buy everything in bulk. We pay for the fees to get it down. Did I explain that okay? Oh my gosh, I can literally afford, and it's gonna be that payment. It's actually lower than what their other one was at a lower purchase price, but our payment's lower at a higher purchase price because it's just such a damn awesome rate. And now they're like, okay, cool. And now when I'm in a home, they know their payment, and it's an estimate, but it's pretty darn accurate. And you, as a site member, when you join, it's free. You get access to that same calculator that I'm using. And right after I was done, Patty's like, see why we come to Josh. It just makes it clearer. It makes it clearer for the buyer, because I don't know about you, but I don't move forward if I don't understand. And so if I'm not comprehending what's going on to the fullest extent that I want to, and some people want to know more than they need to, but to make a good decision, you have to have all the angles. And if you don't cover all of these, they don't have all the angles. And therefore, we're not going to close them. Okay. So show the monthly payments before showing homes. So once you get that pre-approval letter, because you don't want to waste your gas or their time or yours, then extrapolate from that lender. Okay, what's that payment, please? Cool. Now you go have a conversation with your buyer. Great. So are we good with a $3,900 payment? Because we ain't going to go look at $425,000 homes if we're not. It's fair. It's a fair thing. Okay. So I mentioned 99% of agents come with a buyer who's pre-approved with a lender has no idea what their monthly payment is at that approval. So where do you need your monthly payment to be? This is a great consultation question. Why would you waste your time if they want to be $1,200 and they're not a fully disabled vet and they have no money? We're not going to waste our time, right? How much per month are you wanting your payment to be? These are easy questions, and you may feel like you're diving into personal. Yes, you are. This is a home. They live in it. It is a very personal decision. But more importantly, they have to afford it. And just because we got them approved doesn't mean they're going to afford it. They might get approved for it, buy it, and close on it, but then they hate life because it doesn't fit their needs financially. Because the lender can give them more than what they're willing. Their mind might be different than the lender's. So if you're actually doing your buyer an amazing service by talking about this up front. It also helps you pivot very quickly to new homes so that you don't have to waste as much time showing the pre-owned, which we all know pre-owned is a lot more difficult than new, as long as you have a partnered rep that you can trust that can make your life easy on the new home side. I think that most people are missing that, and that's why they're scared to go to the new, just because it actually can be very daunting to do new if you can't get access to data quickly. And I also have apps to clarify and correct that as well. So the most impactful thing to uncover in this S step is to learn how much they want to spend per month. So this is the most important thing. After connecting and after buying their excitement and showing that you're an expert in all the things, this is the most important step. The others are important. We have to do them all, but that's the most important. The E in closed is ETA. We got another time frame. If they're flexible, we can look at dirt, then build. If they're like, I got to do it now, you can look at new, but it's got to be ready. It could be a stage 9 of your Horton and close in 30 days, like their loan is going to take. So we can still look at some non-finished homes because we build quickly. You may be like, okay, they're not ready for 4 more months. Okay, so that may be dirt, that may not. Because with Horton, you don't get the best incentives locking in that dirt. You get the better discounts and the incentives and rate and all the things if it's move-in ready. So the ETA will really help you time everything. Y'all are great at that. You already know that. Why it's sometimes flexible. It helps narrow down your buyer's options. And it's important to many buyers. I'm not going to say it's important to every buyer. Some people are in that stage of life where everything's paid off and they just want to upgrade their status or downsize their whatever. And they're like, we're looking for the perfect house. Here's our criteria. Let me know when you find it. That may be a 14-month client, but you're always looking. You're waiting for that pool that looks over the sun, the south sunset, like whatever the things. Okay. Timing can be anywhere from a buyer needing to move yesterday, or I'm waiting till my promotion next year. Either way, you got a client. Use that CRM, drip campaign, all the things. But ETA is everything. One of the things might be, once you uncover that ETA, that they want it like now, but then you get into that monthly payment, but then wife's about to graduate nursing in like 6 months. Maybe we wait until we're more approved. Maybe we wait till we can actually have the double income. And then now you're thinking from a big picture for them, and you're really giving them the best service, even though you want the sale now, we need money now, and everything's costing more expensive. And why is the gas $700? We're doing our clients a better service by having them wait. So use timing to your advantage. If they need to move now, show them completed homes only. They need to save more, show the bill jobs, and contract now. Things like, when do you need to move? How soon are you wanting to be in your new home? Are you flexible with your timing? The most impactful things to uncover in each step is to learn when they want to move. Okay, so let's recap. The C, current situation. What's the L?
Location.
What's the O?
Objective.
Objective, I love it. And what's the S?
Some.
I
Talk
know.
about the money.
I know.
And then the
Chat
ETA.
ETA wasn't perfect. And then ETA, right? And then the last one. Oh, look, I just recovered there. Okay. The last one is, do you want it? Okay, so I'm very passionate about putting on a show, because I think that buying a home is already extremely stressful on its own. I don't need to be thinking through and making them feel like, now if you do this, it's going to be a 30-year commitment. Oh my gosh, they know that. They don't need to be informed of things that scare them already. So I try to be as fast and as happy as possible through the journey. So because that emotional high will only be sustainable for a short time. And I truly believe, as long as I'm thinking and operating in ethical boundaries, right? Because I'm here to serve, that I'm going to be thinking for them on their logic side so that they don't have to. And they need to be thinking more emotionally, because we make purchases emotionally and then we justify them logically later, after it's too late sometimes. And so I want them to move forward where it's too late to change their mind as fast as possible. But I want to know all the things so that they don't need to change their mind, because they told me everything that works and I logically fit it in. Did I explain that okay?
Yeah.
So that's why I try to do it as fast as I can. But this question didn't really talk about the speed. I'm bringing that up because if you don't get to this quickly, you will lose people. And then they'll just, oh, we're just going to stay where we are. Thanks so much. We'll pick it back up next year when rates change. We'll call you back later. Right? So if we don't do it quickly, then we don't do it at all sometimes. Once a buyer has walked through these 5 steps to their satisfaction, this is where my patience has to be challenged sometimes. Like, I've done everything, I keep saying then they will be able to make a decision, right? It's time to ask, do you want it? But here's the thing. If your buyer has seen what fits their needs, they will be able to say yes or no when you ask them at this time. If you ask prior to that, rude. You didn't earn the right. I used to sell sleep at Mattress Firm and sleep expert. I was hired for the sleep expert firm because it's like a higher level customer service, and I was a manager of a high-end steakhouse. They're like, I think he's going to fit well with that, and he's never done sales before. I loved it, but I also was co-branded. I could walk across the street, so people thought they were shopping me. I was like, I know their product too because I worked there also on Fridays or whatever. So it was kind of funny. They told me in the value zone I was supposed to take the twin size mattress, put it on the twin size foundation. Try this one. You want to buy that one? Okay. Next one. You want to buy that one? I'm like, would you buy from someone that did that? That was their process. I'm like, what if I said yes to the one before the 13th one on this rack? What? Well, I don't get to try them all? Well, you don't want to try them all, just like you don't want to show 30 houses. How about we figure out their needs before I show you anything? And then while you're in it, you tell me if it fit the things that you told me you needed it to fit. And so I was like spinal doctor, chiropractor, making sure that they knew their hips had to go in just enough, their shoulder had to go in enough, they needed spinal alignment when they were fully relaxed. Otherwise, their muscles were going to constantly be tensing up, trying to reach final alignment while they're sleeping, and then they wake up sore. They're like, what is that? Yes. Sit down, focus. And then they bought the $12,000 split adjustable king set, like, because it fit their needs. But we don't just ask, do you want it? Because we want to. We go through the sets first, and then we earn the right to ask, right? But when you ask for the sale, do you want it? Do you want to make it yours? Does this one work? Is this the one? You put your own spin on it. You make it yours. I'm not asking anyone to say these phrases. I just want you to follow the general parameters in your jargon and dialogue, because you can get away with saying things that I can't say. I can get away with saying things that you can't say. You gotta find your version. But the most impactful thing is to ask with enthusiasm. I have heard so many people, and I don't even care if the person's a timid, shy little, like, you need to ask them with enthusiasm. We don't want to overwhelm them. We need to tone it down if that's who they are, but we still need to be asking with an upbeat, like it's a question of positivity. Do you want to make this one yours? Not, is this one going to work? There's a difference. There's a difference. And that moment is so crucial for them. They need to know that it's okay to be happy making this decision. They will not move forward if you are overly happy and it doesn't work for them. It's not a trick. It's not a scam. It's not going to get them to move forward, and they shouldn't have. But it will get them to move forward if they should. But you have to ask with enthusiasm. Did I explain that thoroughly enough? Yes. Okay. So that is the close section of my training. And I also have, I'm not going to make a role play today, but I also, if y'all want to scan this, if you want, I've got wallpaper for iPhones. You have to be a site member to access this page. So if it comes up with a please log in, then click the login or sign up button, and I'll make you a site member. But for those of you who were here last time and you're a site member, just log in. It'll take you right here to this page. And then you can download, there's 4 or 5 different themes of this clothes. It's my background on my phone because I like to remember where I am. I don't care what order you do these in, as long as you don't ask for the sale until you've done all 5 of the other things at whatever order fits within your client's needs.
So are you like walking in a house and like, or are you summarizing? I'm assuming like you already kind of like, when you're in your case, you probably don't know the client. In their case,
Yeah, I don't know them at all.
In their case, they know the client.
Right.
So they're kind of walking around and they're saying, you know, we want something with an extra bedroom because you're going through.
I do a quick consultation in our model at the garage normally. I don't even let them see my model until I've happily greeted them and said, hi, how are you? Welcome in. Oh my gosh, how did you hear about this? I love your agent. I think we work together, blah, 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 right? Because y'all can't brag about yourselves, but I can brag about you. And that just solidifies that they made a good decision choosing you, and then that you and I are going to work as a team, and then there's no weird like thing. Right now they feel like they get 2 agents almost, right, for free. And so I go through that, but I want to know, I normally kind of throw them like 3 or 4 questions all at once in one sentence. I don't let them finish so that they hear where I'm trying to go, and then they choose what to answer. It's like, so where do you live now? Why are we moving? All the things. Okay, they're going to be like, oh, okay, it's my turn to talk, right? And they're going to go with whatever's important to them. I just gave them the general of where I'm trying to target. Okay, well, we live in blah, 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 Fort Worth. We're about to have a 3rd kid, or I'm moving jobs. I'm relocating to South Fort Worth here in Crowley. So we're looking for Crowley. And, you know, we've been looking at pre-owned and, you know, whatever. Okay, that's their story. Awesome. Now there's a lot of gaps to fill in, but then I would just use my targeted questions right then and there to fill all of this. I try to get all of clothes done before I go out and show a home. Yeah. Because I want to know what home to show them. And unlike, well, MLS is on it, but you know, if you show them 30 homes, they're going to look around and they're going to forget all the things. And they're going to go see everything again. It's a nightmare. So you really want to focus on what you know is going to hit most of their needs. So I just try to find those up front in the model at the garage. And then if it makes sense for them to see the largest single-story home we have furnished and fall in love with that one, I'll show it. If not, we're staying right there. Fill this out. Let me check you in real fast. I'm going to grab my map. We're going to go actually look. I've got this perfect. I think it's going to really fit your needs really well. And they don't even model because they can't afford the model because I already talked about it. And they don't. They can, but they don't want. I'm not. I just need to know what's going to work. We're solution finding. And so I normally get it out within about 3 to 5 minutes. I'm done.
And after you build in the house,
Mhm.
do you recap all of
100%.
so you're
For them and with them while doing it, but I let them alone. Some people think it's like rude to be texting in front of your client. Sometimes I'm like, I don't answer texts. They're walking through their home. This isn't my home. I don't need to show you what a bedroom looks like. Go look at it. Like, I'm just very direct, and they catch on. They're like, oh, this guy ain't messing around. Like, I'm happy, I'm fun, but like, we're serious. We're here to buy a home. Like, that's our job. That's what I do. So I let them kind of do that on their own, but sometimes I do show features. I don't want to feature up to death, but I do want to get credit for things that we're doing right that other builders won't. Because I want them to know why we cost more than this other builder here. What are you getting?
Hey, Patty, go ahead.
Hi. So I would, if you haven't scheduled time to go and see Josh do his thing, I've done it with him several times, and it's a very relaxed but direct approach with your clients. It's not offensive. It is fun. It's, I used to tell Josh I'd save him for the last, but now I make him the first because the bar is so high after you leave Josh. It's like, I want that. I already want that. So it's a great process to go through if you're not comfortable or familiar with asking for these kind of, I don't know what you would call your close, but kind of like your movement through the sales process, because it's an important part to be asking and directed and, serious about, a purchase like this. But Josh does make it fun. And, if nothing else, partner up with somebody and go, let him show you how he would treat your buyers, because it's pretty phenomenal.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
And thank you, Josh, for coming today. We appreciate you very much. I've got your information that I'll share with the group after today in Slack.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming, and thank you for breakfast. So
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you so much. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to move on to LB is going to come in and talk to us a couple of minutes about the true one-stop shop. LB? Hello? LB?
Oh, next up.
Can you imagine?
That was great.
Oh my God.
Lauren, you want to do my announcement first?
Yeah, you can do your announcement.
Okay. Most of you guys have seen social media. Rachel is leaving. Everybody online, you can do sad face. Her last day was actually last Friday. And so we have been interviewing. We've known this for a while. Rachel, she wasn't necessarily looking for a new job, but she had some bookkeeping stuff on the side, and one of the clients approached her. And so she was like, I don't know. And she came to me about it. We talked about it. And I was like, man, it's a really cool opportunity. And so it was like right up her alley, what she's kind of wanted to do in the future anyways. And so I was like, you got to take it. Like you have to. And so we kind of like talked through it a little bit and transition plan. And so she's off to that job. She started on Monday. So if she still has her 6th Avenue email. So send her a message, say congratulations, we're pumped for you. And that's really exciting. And then second announcement, Rachel's going to continue to work with us on contract basis for the next month. So for the next 2 weeks, really, you can still email her for different stuff, but if you can, try to keep the emails to me or Brian. But if you just need something, Rachel's still working for us for the next 2 weeks and then up to 4 weeks as needed. Second announcement is Camber is our new hire, like Amber with a K. And so she's starting on June 16th. So again, I would have with her for a while. She's going to, be drinking through a fire hose kind of thing as she's job and all the ins and outs of the business. And so I imagine it'll be a couple months before she gets actually trained up where she's like, can come and meet you. She's going to have to learn a whole lot first. So, but she'll just start on June 16th. So just a quick announcement there. Congrats to Rachel, and then welcome Amber, but I'll have her come in that week, the 16th, just to introduce herself and stuff. She is. So, all right.
Thank you, Jim.
You're up.
All right, so here's your slides.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm prepared this time. We're doing like a presentation, so kind of like what Kayla did a couple weeks ago. We're just going to teach you guys a little bit more about our branch of the company, but I'm trying to really bring it home here and make it really relevant for y'all. So I have kind of put together a breakdown of something that really happened last August. That was deeply related to real estate, a real estate transaction, not an agent from this brokerage. You guys definitely pass us leads and I'm able to help your clients, but typically it's post transaction. I'm literally going to see one of Andrew's clients next week. I just signed on a new design project yesterday that Kristen Hoke sent me. So you guys are definitely doing that. I love that. Keep doing that. I'd love to be able to help your clients after they're done with their transaction. But the one I'm showing you today, I feel like is really cool and special because I was able to help this agent complete their transaction. So I'm going to start with, these are actual literal real pictures. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Come on back.
Okay. So this is a case. Now this is we're converting a garage for Andrew's client, Kristen's client. It's a kitchen remodel. Like we definitely do those. This is a big daddy, and they needed us to close on their loan, and so that's how we were going to come in and speak to that, help them. So this was a house that was a total vet. This was huge. This is more than just like, let me call this contractor I know. This was like, well, I need a team that can help them from an architectural standpoint and a construction standpoint, and a bank is going to sign off on them as a contractor and help them close on their loan. So we are gutting this house. That's where we're getting to, and we're adding on about 3,000 square feet to the back of it. So basically building a house onto the back of this house and gutting the original house. So this agent, their client had this huge dream for this property. It was a really cool property in West, and it's more than they felt like they could undertake, and they needed to be able to close on this loan in a timely manner. And so they needed somebody who could help them do that and take all these steps. So I just included, I maybe put some pictures of the house. It was a total gut. It was completely original homeowner passed away, and this is going to be the second homeowner. So the first step for this the agent took was to actually call Jimmy because I was on maternity leave, but I was coming back from maternity leave, and so but immediately, just if you'll notice, these are literal screenshots of my emails. He just is going to pass them to me, so you might as well just call me. The first step is to connect with us. You guys know how to get a hold of us. You have our emails. He's great. He sends beautiful emails. I'm sure to screenshot. He does it great. You do great too, Danielle. And so getting the email is a great way to communicate with me, just because that's how we can communicate with our clients and how we're able to track everything. Slack, things get lost. Sometimes text, things get lost. And so email is great. You'll see we got the agent, the husband and the wife, me, and they're going to, my goal here is to get a meeting at their house during their option period. So that's my kind of goal for this. So you guys are under contract. That shows to me your clients are committed to this project potentially. You guys have got under contract. A lot of times I'm coming out on the same day they're doing the inspection. Like, let's kill some birds with, whatever that saying is. So this is really cool. So I connected with the clients after Jimmy passed them on to me and got you can scroll. Thank you, Brian. An option period meetup. So we did a meetup. This was actually their kickoff. So that's a lead, but this is what it would look like. It's going to be you there, your clients, me, and I'm just trying to hear more about the vision. Like, what is the vision? What's the goal? What do they need? Trying to understand the heart behind this so that I can give them a good proposal. We call our proposals a game plan. The game plan is going to include the proposal for our architectural and interior design services, rough costing. What is this big dollar amount? The big dollar amount of what I think this is actually going to cost. How long do I think that design is going to take, and how long do I think construction is going to take? I'm also going to estimate an engineering cost. The city of Fort Worth and most municipalities require to have some sort of stamped engineering plans as part of the scope of work this large, so I'm estimating that. And then if this looks good, what are our next steps? I'm also going to have been doing some touch points on how are we paying for this. A project of this size, which was over $700,000, they're most likely not paying that out of pocket, and so being able to close on financing is a huge piece of this that we were able to help with. So if that looks good and they're not scared after that, now we need to do financing. And so the way that we had to lock in financing for this project was we had to create a small floor plan to show the lender how many bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footage were we adding to this house so they could appraise it appropriately. So I think this is really cool. And I'm really proud of this because from the time they called Jimmy to the time I connected with their lender, which was First Financial, and got this little drawing put together so they could get an appraisal done, was 14 days. So that is like, call Jimmy, I come out to the house, I give them a proposal, we create this drawing, it goes to the clients and their bank 14 days. So we can do this really quickly. They did pay a small fee for that drawing outside of their all-in design proposal, just because there's a chance maybe it doesn't appraise and the whole thing falls through, right? So just paying our drafter to generate that little drawing. Okay. So that was great. If that was what the bank needed. Oh, I'm so sorry. Go back up, Brian, real quickly. I also gave them right here, you'll see a formal bid at that point, because now I have something that I'm able to do a takeoff of. So I created an actual itemized estimate at that time. The bank needed an itemized estimate as well as the drawing. Okay, so okay, and then we wait. So now the loan goes to underwriting. We're just like sitting there kind of twiddling our thumbs. You and your clients are negotiating, they're figuring out their interest rates and whatnot. Loan terms and everything, and then we wait. And once you get a closing date, the agent, she says, okay, we have a closing date, and then that's when we schedule design. We don't typically start design and architecture until you guys until you close on the house, just because, as you guys know, real estate, like, it could fall through at any moment, and closing dates move. And it's just we've learned that lesson where we've started design for things have closed, and then everybody's hearts are broken. So, because we don't get the house and we've already started designing it. So anyways, and that's how we do it. So once we did that, we literally scheduled our kickoff meeting where we come and measured up the house and started developing architectural plans like the next day. Like, I think they went from the title company to the house and we started that day. We can plan for it and really accommodate timeline. And then that timeline that they closed in August, we've locked in design and we're done with all of that by November, December, and we started construction in January, and we are well underway on it. And these are our deliverables. So full architectural plan set, interior and exterior elevations. This plan set's like 20-something pages long, so it was a lot. And then we did interior design as well. So I just included some screenshots of their architecture in there moving forward. Yeah. That's it. Is there another page? Oh, that's it. Okay. Is that fast enough for you?
Great.
Okay, do it again.
Okay, good man.
He go up. He was like 10 minutes. Okay. I'll do it again.
No. You did great. I think that's a very good, I think that's a really nice, quick way of showing the process that you guys go through.
Yeah.
I'm going to include this in the Slack follow-up so you guys can go back through it. Of course, LB's always available by email. That's her best way. Whenever I need something from LB, I just email her because that's how she
We'll get back to you in
communicates.
24 hours. Or just text. Yeah. It's a lot. No, this is a very similar process as far as, like, say, I'm just going to use a real example. For like his clients that are just converting an existing garage into an apartment. Similar. Can we move on? Similar process.
That's a great picture of you.
I'm always pregnant with headshots. Got to redo this. Okay, so he makes a connection with that email. He sends it to me and to his clients. He says, this is their address. These are their names. Here are their emails. I'll follow up. I'm trying to get a phone call with them. Maybe I'll just straight call them if they don't hear back from them via email. And I'm trying to talk to them on the phone so I can set up that meeting at their house. When I see the house, then I'm able to, for the garage in this instance, I'm able to then get them that formal proposal. When you guys are doing making a referral, I will CC you on all of those emails so that you kind of know what's going on. That's easier than me like saying, hey, here's an update. I'm just going to CC you on emails. At some point, I'll stop doing that just because for privacy's sake. But I will. I will always let you know what's going on, because in this instance, like with Kristen today, or yesterday, whenever that happens, we do the referral fees, right? And so we give referral fees to you guys when you pass this leads. And so now that they've closed, when they pay us for the service, that's when we give you a referral fee. So I think the design referral fee for the design proposals is $500. And then if they close on construction, so like, for example, this agent, like, we gave them a referral fee when they contracted on construction with us. And it's 1% up to $75,000 and then 0.5% after that. So like, we paid her thousands and thousands of dollars for this referral fee, because that was well worth it to us, because this ended up being a $750,000 project. So it was worth it for her, it was worth it for us. And then what was really cool on a big project like this agent came to every single one of our design meetings. Those clients were really inclusive of her in that process. And so she came to all those meetings so she could learn and understand so that she was better able to make referrals for her agents, or sorry, her clients going forward. And we're like, great, like the more the merrier. And so that was really educational for her. So yeah, that's kind of it. Like you should come to those meetings.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I can get them,
We will
Did you
see.
get her to switch over to Staats?
But she just moved from whatever brokerage she was at to another one. And so I don't know. I think she's at Compass.
No.
No. Yeah. She left Caldwell Banker.
Thank you, Lauren, for your time this morning. Thank you for putting the presentation together. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I'll put that in our stuff today. Okay, so did you guys see the lightning strike that happened in Benbrook Sunday night? So apparently during that storm, there were people at the park at Benbrook Lake, and they all ran underneath a tent to protect themselves from the hail and the lightning. Well, the lightning actually struck the tent, and 14 people were shocked by the lightning. So we were talking about this last night at our Goodbye Rachel dinner, and Jamie and I decided that this needed to be a new core value for Sixth Ave. So we are calling it going to ground. We ground our souls in truth before we move into action. Just like lightning needs a grounding rod to safely release its energy, we believe that grounding ourselves in truth is essential before we can act with power, purpose, and clarity. Without grounding, power becomes destructive. With it, it becomes transformational. In a fast-paced and often chaotic industry, we intentionally pause to align with what is true about ourselves, our clients, our work, and our mission. We seek wisdom before reaction, reflection before response, and truth over convenience. This grounding keeps us rooted when challenges come, protects our integrity under pressure, and ensures that the energy we bring builds rather than breaks. This applies professionally and personally. We want our team to be soul-anchored and centered, making decisions from a place of peace and confidence, not ego or fear. Before we move fast, we ground deep. Kind of already in our culture and it's unsaid in a lot of the other core values, but Jamie is our visionary. He said that's a good one. That's really something that we need to be a part of. Okay, announcements. Next week, please be here at 9:45. Please, Tiffany Howard and Reliant Energy will be here next week for breakfast. The docent training is still available. You haven't started that? Are you still liking it?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. If you didn't get an email from Greater Fort Worth or MetroTech saying that your auto pay was done yesterday, that means you didn't have auto pay, and they're going to call me in a day or
Stop
so.
looking at me. I
I'm
already
going to text you and then you say,
Don't look at me.
if you didn't get an auto pay email from Greater Fort Worth or MetroTech, whichever association you're with, please go check your association and pay your dues, because they're going to call me or email me tomorrow. And then I'm going to text you and go, hey, you didn't pay your dues. Can you get those paid for us? We now have an NAID number. If you don't know what that is, if you weren't around as a realtor in 2009 and 2010, that is a HUD home. That is a foreclosed property that goes through the HUD home store. You have to have an NAID number. I have to have an NAID number for you to bid on a HUD home. We now have that. So if you have clients that are looking at HUD homes, foreclosed properties, come see me. I'll set you up on the NAID on the HUD home store website as a official buyer. So that's just another
That's
piece.
so crazy. That one's not been a thing for like the past 10 years.
No, 15.
I will disagree with you. I did several of those my first year,
Yeah, but wait, when was that?
2017.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I did HUD Home Store, auction.com. I did like 3 or 4 of them my first year.
That was like the end.
Yeah. Well, I also was in Central Texas where there's a lot of VA foreclosures, unfortunately, but
But like anywhere, like it's just they have not existed.
yeah, well, foreclosures just haven't been a thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying they've let it. There's a chance it's coming back. So Maria Gonzalez asked for that ability because she had a client that wanted to do that. So it took me about 4 days of emailing back and forth to actually having to call the Housing and Urban Development Department in Washington, D.C. to get us a number, but we now have a number. Summer Learning Series, Josh was a little bit longer than I thought he was going to be, so we're going to hit my stuff a little bit lightly today. I may go over 11 o'clock by 5 minutes or so, but I'm going to hit that. ReChat and Real Scout now cross sync. If you put something in Real Scout, and you should have gotten, that's the word. So I will put this in Slack as well. This is how to get Real Scout and ReChat to talk to each other. This is the actual steps that you go through to make that sync work. You put one into one system, and then you can sync it to the other system. So it's very, Tanner got us signed up for Real Scout and for ReChat, and now those two platforms are actually working together. So turned out really good for us. And then the last thing I was going to tell you about is the Cubicasa just got an upgrade. So if you're doing your floor plans through Cubicasa, they're now doing a hosted URL for your floor plan. So there will be an individual URL for your floor plan that you can share. Hopefully that'll be able to sync with our MLS soon. It'll be like a virtual tour that you can put on there. But I always include the photo from the design as one of my photos anyway on MLS. Quick update. Applications were up last week, solid 18% higher than a week ago. Pending home sales on existing homes fell 6.3% in April, but with inventory 5-year high, the National Association of Realtors said buyers are in a better position to negotiate with favorable terms. Not going to worry about the last one there. The tariff temperature cools. Market has gone back up since we kind of deferred the 50% tariff on the EU till July the 9th. So we've got a couple of weeks here left before those go back, and it may get a little bit more shaky in July. So again, like we've been saying, now is the time to get a buyer to buy. Consumer confidence made a huge jump in May after 5 straight months of decline. The Fed's favorite read dropped 2.1% in April. That's the price inflation. The mortgage stuff, it's up a little bit this week, or down a little bit this week from where it was last year. Down from where it was this time last week, but it's still well below where it was last year. This week, we're looking at construction spending, manufacturing, services, and jobs. There's a lot of early summer stuff coming out this week, so that was going to change some things. Here's the rates from today. We're at 30-year fixed on the conventional is running 6.96, which is down from 6.99, still above where it was from March the 12th, but it's still in that 6.5 to 7 range. So it's good. FHA is running under 6.5. So if you've got an FHA buyer, the FHA buyers are the most rate sensitive. So those are the ones that you're really, I think that you should be thinking about when an FHA buyer says something, hey, we're running about 6.5%, depending on your credit worthiness. Business tip of the week, write down clear goals for your business, break them down into actionable steps it will take to achieve them. All the activities that drive your pipeline from finding leads to closing deals, above all, keep tracking your progress. I can't tell you what tracking did for me. You can't measure it until you track it. That's just a simple fact that Brian Buffini talks about all the time, and that's why we track those things. If you're using Referral Maker, the CRM, or any CRM, there should be some tracking available there, so you have to track it to be able to measure it. Did you know the price gap between new and existing homes has narrowed to a $14,600 average in Q1 from $64,000 in 2022? When factoring in buyer incentives from builders, the gap can disappear. So the difference between new and pre-owned homes is what we're talking about there. All right, so here is my summer learning series. So what we're going to do this summer, we've got 12 weeks. We have a CE scheduled for early August with title. They're going to go through a title thing with us, with the Baker firm. The other 11 weeks, I'm going to be doing this little top 10 agent tips, and we're going to dive down just slightly into some of the things that you can be doing daily. And then without such a long presentation at the beginning, we'll get more into discussion of how these things actually work. So building a deep knowledge base is the best thing that you can do for your clients. Understanding your local market is critical for gaining credibility and serving your clients effectively. Researching the latest trends, studying property values, familiarize yourself with zoning laws, school districts, and community developments. Zoning laws also is like PIDs, MUDs, those kind of things that we are dealing with in some of these communities. Always doing research when you're going to take a listing in a neighborhood. Go to the tax records, see if you see a PID, see if you see a MUD. Ask the question, because a lot of sellers aren't going to think about, oh yeah, I got to pay that property improvement district. So that's always a question that you need to know. It's always good to know in advance those neighborhoods like Trophy Club up in southern Denton County. They have a MUD. They're one of the few ones that have a municipal utility district. However, Heritage up in 76244 has a PID. Not every house has the PID. It's only in certain parts of the neighborhood. So you've got to go look. For example, come to our weekly meeting. This meeting is very important because I'm going to give you data. I'm going to tell you some of the things that I do. I'm not perfect. I'm not the best agent in the Metroplex. I've been doing it 20 years, so I've learned a couple of tricks. There's things that I want to give you. So please come to the meeting, get the real-time data. These things, I think, make you a better agent. Daily views of your market data using the fish finder on showing time and on analytics on Broker Bay. Those things are super, super important to be able to use the fish finder effectively. I've actually learned to use them even better, and I'll show you that later this summer. What are your daily and weekly habits? The daily habits that you do, you guys have heard me say this before. Brian Buffini always talks about what a professional realtor has. And he uses the acronym HAS: habits, attitude, and skill. Habits are super important. How you start your day, how the things that you do on the MLS every day while you're not actually working for a client, you're not searching for a property. What are you doing to better yourself in the market that you're serving, that you've chosen to work in? Usually it's around your house, but not necessarily. Sometimes you want to work, on a farm, a subdivision, someplace away from you. Be the expert in those things. Let's talk about some of those. Analyze recent sales. Look at properties similar to what your target clients are interested in. Note sales price, time on the market, and any unique selling points that made them stand out. When looking at comps, what parameters are best? Same thing that you use when you're doing a listing. You want to look at plus or minus 15% of the square footage. You want to look at plus or minus 5 years of build time if every house in the neighborhood was built about the same time. Generally, they are until you get back to the 60s, 70s when they were building tract homes. You may get some subdivisions that have 10 to 15 years of difference in them. But those are the things that you need to know. Do you know the average days on the market for your target market? Those are good things to know because then you start becoming an expert on that subdivision. What amenities do you think bring the most value? We've talked about that before. Appraisers, the pool situation we had last summer or summer before last. What's a pool worth to an appraiser? Well, depends. If you're in Watauga, it's $20,000. If you're in Keller, it could be 30 to 40. If you're in South Lake, it can be 50 to 100. If you're in Highland Park in Dallas, it can be 250, depending on what they spent. Some of the pools that Jeff does and that Sixth Ave does. I mean, one of those pools was $250,000. So there's got to be some things in what the amenities bring. What is granite worth in a property? Granite in a kitchen, that's if every other house in the neighborhood doesn't have granite, well, it's worth $3,000 to $5,000 to an appraiser. If everybody else doesn't have wood floors and you've got hardwood floors, that can be worth $3,000 to $5,000 to an appraiser. It's knowing those things, getting that knowledge of, hey, that house is different. It backs up to a golf course. What's a golf course view worth? What's a lake? What's a water view worth? Pulling that data out. Understanding what types of properties are in demand. Pay attention to trends in housing preferences, such as the rise in demand for homes with home offices or outdoor spaces. Do you see seasonality in your market? Pools, outdoor living, new homes, that's supposed to say equal smaller homes in certain price points. So the builders are building smaller now because they can, and houses cost more. Materials cost more, labor costs more. So Dior Horton, for instance, is building a 1,600 square foot home and selling it for as cheap as they can to get us into those things. Get our buyers into those properties. What trends are you seeing in the market? That's when, like on my homepage of Matrix, I keep all of my listings that are coming. And I'm watching those markets every single day because I want to be the expert. When I list that house, I'm listing one in Weatherford, I'm gonna do the video this Friday and move on Monday. I know what's for sale. I know every single house that's on the market, that's active, that's pending, and that is closed in the last 180 days. Those are the things you have to know about the market that you're getting into. So, and one thing that I didn't talk about, on this first slide here is proficiency. A lot of people, we have lost agents at Sixth Ave because they wanted to do something that was outside their area of expertise. And I said, you probably shouldn't do that. And somebody left because of that. That's completely fine. But I would not go to El Paso or to Abilene and try to sell a house. Do I have the license to do so? Absolutely. But I don't know the area. I can't tell you about the PIDs, the MUDs. I don't have access to the MLS. I'm not proficient in those markets. So being proficient in the market that you're in is highly, highly advised. That's serving your clients to the best of your ability. And that way you know what they're getting into. A lot of what Josh talked about with his CLOSE acronym, which is fantastic information. But being proficient and being able to talk about all of that stuff with a client at one time and knowing the area. I mean, could you go sell a house in Corpus Christi? Yes, you could. Yes, you can. If you know the area, absolutely. Danielle is proficient in Temple, Belton, Austin, Waco. She's done it. She knows those areas. She knows how to sell in those areas. She's also very good in Fort Worth. So,
And Houston, believe it or not.
and Houston, okay. There you go. So that's my build a deep knowledge base. That's our first week of training. And actually, I hit it with 11:01.
Boom.
Not bad. I like to be very respectful of you guys' time. Open the floor for questions, comments. Anybody like to say anything at all? You guys online, or let me open the comments, and you're welcome to make comments there. But you can jump on and chat with us as well. New core value? Yeah, yeah.
How many do you have now?
15.
A million.
My favorite thing is that we have so many, and then one of them is, it's kind to be clear. Like, kindness is whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, we have 100 of them.
But the reason we have so many, I think, goes back to like you have to speak and pump yourself up the truth. Like,
Totally.
You just have to
Yeah.
and I always say these are aspirational. They're prescriptive, not necessarily descriptive. Because just like, and it's like when you have to do a hard thing, like I think probably the hardest thing about being an agent is when you have to make those hard phone calls. And I hate when you have to give bad news, or you have to confront, or you have to fight, or you have to deal with a crazy ass person. That's always the hardest part for me. And I literally have to I can do hard things. I've made to solve problems. And you have to speak truth and pump yourself up to get in the zone to be like, okay.
We can do this.
You know what I mean? But there's an element of it's so hard to do that if you're not grounded in truth, and if you're not talking, because there's voices in your head at all times. And if you're not fighting the negative self-critic, inner critic, and pumping yourself up like you can do this, it's really hard to make those phone calls.
Yeah, it can. So that's why we have the core values. But I love they're aspirational. I mean, it always has cracked me up with doctors because they have a practice. Well, they're experts, but they still practice. We are experts. We have a license to do this job, but we still practice. And practicing is wonderful. So like you as a new agent, practice listings, practice buyer consultations, practice those things that you're going to do. I still do. My listing presentation is basically the same that it's been for 8 years, but it's gotten so much more intense and detailed when I go to a listing appointment that I know before I leave if I'm going to take the listing, not if they're going to give it to me, if I'm going to serve them. I went on one last week in South Fort Worth, and just the conversation I had with the clients, I was like, nope, don't want this one. Not interested.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling. Thank you for having me come by. Here's my paperwork. I'm going to leave you the folder. I'm going to leave you everything here. My advice to you is no matter what you do, hire a listing agent, because what you're planning to do, you're going to be in trouble if you don't hire a listing agent. And I said the words, even if you don't hire me,
Did you say no because of the people or because of the property?
the property,
Okay.
and their expectations of what that property was gonna go for. Oh, we're looking at the house down the street and they're selling for $290. Well, that house is in good shape. You need a new roof and your pool is cracked. And you're not gonna get $285 for it. You're gonna get $245 for it. And I don't want to, I would rather Brian Buffini said this one time, is that I would rather disappoint you and us not work together than us get 6 months into this and then you're yelling at me.
Yeah.
I'd rather not take the list.
She's dealing with that right now with her buyer in the listing.
Really.
They will sell everything in their house is worth way more than what it's appraised for.
Yep, it's setting the expectations, but that's part of the practice that we do as realtors. And with our license, we still have to practice. I still practice. Danielle practices all the time. Hey guys, that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll put this on YouTube, follow up in Slack. I'll get all of the links and presentations up so you guys can see it. And thank you for joining us. Talk to you soon.
This is one of my questions.
And thank you, Amber, for joining us. This is my friend Amber Brewer. She's out in East Texas and Algovan and Mineola. And she wanted to pop into our meeting today. So her husband is the singer in my band. So bye, Amber.
Yeah, I've talked to her before.
Yeah, you have talked to Amber. All right, let me stop recording.
That's good. I would love to see
No, the
Josh in action.
He's not, I mean,
I guess they.
I took a client out